You're there wondering if video is the future of podcasting or if video podcasting is going to replace audio-only podcast, and you're thinking that you're missing out on massive growing opportunities because you don't have a video podcast yet. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you some very interesting industry insights and answer some of the questions you may have before you start your video podcast or before you introduce video to your podcast production. Question number 1, is video podcasting something you must do, or is it another fleeting industry trend threatening to end podcasting as we know it, like Clubhouse or Fireside, which are no longer talked about? Well, let's unpack this. The first thing is that video podcasting is not new. As an example of this, we have the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, which started posting episodes on YouTube back in 2013. There are other very famous podcasts on YouTube who followed his example, and now their audiences are in the millions. And if you don't know about the Joe Rogan Experience, it just so happens to be one of the most famous podcast in the industry. And even though video podcasting has been around for a while, it seems like in the last 3 years, more and more creators are getting into video podcasting, and they have been able to grow their audiences here on YouTube, and their channels are in the millions of subscribers. We've also seen that there's been a shift in the industry. I recently had the opportunity to speak at one of the stages at Podcast Movement about video podcasting on YouTube, and to my surprise, there were other 5 speakers talking about video podcasting, which shows that now the industry is recognizing that video has become a big part of what was considered an audio-only medium. We've also seen different businesses in the industry launching different apps and different services and tools for podcast creators who want to record audio and video as part of their podcast workflow. And also, it's not only the many podcast creators, the different businesses in the industry launching tools, or the industry recognizing video podcasting as a way to make podcasts. And we have successful podcast creators also saying that video podcasting is the future of podcasting. And one of those successful creators is Stephen Bartlett. He was one of the keynote speakers at Podcast Movement. And when he was asked what was the future of podcasting, he said that the future of podcasting is video. And something interesting that he shared too is, and he talked to all of us podcast creators, is that we should look at our podcast in terms of a show, not only a podcast, and a show that is produced in different ways, audio, video, with the ability to post it on different platforms to reach our audiences. When I was putting my presentation together for Podcast Movement, I went and looked to the top 100 podcasts on Apple Podcasts, and to my surprise, 60% of those podcasts were also on YouTube as video podcasts. As you can see, video podcasting is more than a trend. Video podcasting is here to stay and is posing a great opportunity for you to add video to your podcast or to start a video podcast and be on different platforms and reach your audiences on different platforms in different mediums. However, I also understand the other side. I've been a podcast coach for 7+ years, working with podcast creators. I have collaborated with businesses in the industry. I'm a podcast creator myself and a big proponent of video. So of course, I'm going to push you into the direction of having a video podcast. With that being said, I understand that some of you may not be ready to add video to your podcast production, or the idea of starting a video podcast seems too overwhelming and confusing. So if you're one of those who want to stay with an audio-only podcast, or you want to launch an audio-only podcast, then you may be wondering, is video podcasting replacing audio-only podcast? And the short answer for this is no. Audio-only podcasts are still thriving, so you don't have to run and cancel your RSS feed and go all in on YouTube, or give up on your dreams of launching an audio-only podcast. Podcast audiences are growing exponentially, but the way that they find and consume podcasts is expanding beyond traditional audio only. We have people on YouTube who want to watch or listen to a podcast there on YouTube. We also have the people who like to enjoy an audio only podcast, and for that they use the different podcast players, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the other different apps to listen to podcasts. And now Apple Podcast is available on browser, which means that your audience can listen to your podcast from their browser and they don't need to have an Apple account or an Apple device. So now podcast listeners have the freedom to access podcasts in their favorite platform, and also they have the option to either watch or listen to podcasts. So for podcast listeners, now they have the ability to listen to podcasts in any platform that they like or enjoy. They can listen to your podcast, they can watch your podcast. And for you as a creator, it means that you will have to add a layer to your podcast production and distribution. And for you as a creator, this doesn't mean that you have to abandon your audio only podcast or that you have to focus solely on video. It means that you will be adding an extra layer of production and distribution to your production workflow. Then what you will get in return is plenty of content for you to reach your audience and connect with your audience via audio and video. However, having a video podcast is not the only way to succeed in podcasting. There are plenty of examples of podcasts that are audio only that are super successful with big audiences and big communities. But you can certainly take advantage of the opportunity and connect with your audience with video as well. For example, part of my work with clients is to strategize the distribution of their shows to different platforms, especially when they are making a video podcast. We try to distribute the video and the audio to different platforms. So when we are done with the editing, then we export 2 files, and that's the video file and the audio file. And then we do the distribution of the audio only, and we use 2 different web hosts. We use 3 different web hosts. We use Buzzsprout or RSS.com, or we use Spotify for podcasters. And when we upload the audio format to the web host, then the web host distributes the audio to the podcast players. And then we upload the video to Spotify for podcasters if we want the video on Spotify, and we also upload the video episode to YouTube. Then we take the peak moments from the main episode and we turn those into vertical videos for social media. So as you can see, adding video to your podcast production doesn't mean that you're abandoning audio or that your podcast can't be called a podcast anymore. It means that you have found a more efficient way to make content. It's not a matter of choosing one over the other. It's about you being efficient with your time and sitting down and recording both audio and video at the same time. Another question you may be asking is video podcasting for me? Can I pull it off? How easy it is to start a video podcast? Can I just record a video podcast with my computer? How do I go about this? There are different ways to record a video podcast, and it all depends on your goals, on your skills, on your budget, and the level of help and support that you are going to enlist for your project. For example, if you are looking for a simple video podcast setup and you want to be able to record at your desk, what you will need is a camera and a USB microphone plugged into your computer and a solution like Descript AI to record and edit the audio and the video of your podcast. I recommend Descript because it's very intuitive, it's very easy to learn, and also it has many tools that you can use to repurpose your content and to maximize your production workflow. This is ideal if you're just starting out and you don't have it in your budget to hire a video podcast editor to help you with your project. But if you are aiming for a better quality for your video podcast, then you can use a more advanced and bougie setup. I wouldn't call it bushy, but for example, the camera that I'm using right here is a camera that I would recommend for you to use if you want to get better image, a better quality video, and that's the Sony CVE10. The lens that is attached right now to the camera is the 60mm lens, and this is how it looks. You can also use a camera like this. This is the Sony 7A Mark III, and it has a 20 millimeter lens attached. And you can see the difference between both of the lenses and the cameras as well. Now I'm using, for my audio, I'm using the Shure SM7DV, and it's an XLR microphone that is plugged into an audio interface, and then the audio interface is plugged into my computer, and this will give you this type of audio and this type of video. And while this may give you a crisp and better looking video and audio, then you may consider to hire a podcast editor to help you edit your video podcast, because it's a little bit more complicated setup, and you will need a better solution to edit the audio and the video. You want a professional to do it for you. And let me tell you, editing video is a little bit more time consuming than editing audio. And if you don't have the expertise and you don't have the knowledge, then it's going to be a steep learning curve for you. And it's better for you to spend your energy and to spend your brain power into being the talent in front of the camera and delegating the editing to a video editor. Now, for those of you who have bigger production goals, maybe you envision your podcast to have 3 different camera angles, to have professional studio lighting, maybe, high-end microphones and camera switchers and all this complicated setup. You will definitely need help, not only for post-production, but also while you're recording your podcast. And let me explain why you're going to need help in a big production like this. It's really hard for you to be handling all of the technical, that everything is synced in order, that is troubleshooted, that is working properly, and then sit down and operate a camera switcher. And also, let's say that you have a recording switching board for the audio too, and you will have to be paying attention to that and also be asking the questions and make sure that you are present with your guest if you're thinking about interviewing guests. Or why else would you have a 3 camera shot, right? Like, you need to have a guest there with you. Otherwise, like what? Just like 3 angles of your face? You get it. So what are your production goals? Do you want to keep it simple, or do you want a full-scale production for your podcast? Let me know in the comments. So when you're deciding whether a video podcast is for you, I want you to take into consideration your production goals. I want you to be realistic about how much time and budget you should allocate for your project. Remember that even the most successful podcasters started small. So the key is to find a production workflow that fits your lifestyle, so you don't get burned out and you can keep podcasting for the long run. I also want you to consider your skill level when it comes to editing video. I know that you're smart, and I know that you can learn how to edit video and that you can do it on your own, but is this something that you want to do for your podcast? Or would it be better for you to spend your time and your energy focusing on other aspects of the production of your podcast? Or the marketing of your podcast, instead of sit down and putting yourself through hours of learning how to edit video? Or if you already know how to edit video, is this where you want to be spending your time and energy, editing your own video podcast? Another question you may be asking is whether video podcasting is worth your time. And if you are making your video podcast and it's going really, really well, your audience is growing and you're seeing that you're hitting all of the goals that you have for your video podcast, then you don't have to get into video podcasting. But if it's the opposite, if your download numbers are stuck, if since you launch your podcast, then you haven't seen any significant growth and you're starting to feel a little discouraged to make your podcast, you don't have the same enthusiasm to press record or to plan your episodes, then it's time for you to maybe incorporate video podcasting and to change the strategy that you have to grow your podcast. Growing an audience as an independent podcaster with an audio-only podcast is really, really tough. This is why we recommend our students and clients to add a video to their podcast so they can also post their videos on YouTube. Because YouTube is a search engine and it has a smart algorithm that matches content with users on the platform. So although it may seem counterintuitive, but if you want to grow on the podcast platforms, what you do outside of them is really, really important. And this is why adding video to your podcast production allows you to tap into this wider audiences and algorithms. Are you thinking about adding YouTube to the mix? Drop a comment below. Another reason why video podcasting is worth your time is because of the incredible flexibility it offers when it comes to repurposing your content. When you record your video podcast, you're not getting just one piece of content. You are opening up a world of possibilities for other platforms. With just one video, you can create multiple vertical videos that you can post on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and engage with your audience on those platforms. So it means that when you sit down and you record your content, when you record your video podcast, then you know that you are going to have plenty of content that you will post on the different podcast players, that you will post on YouTube, and also on your social media. This ability of just sitting down once, of blocking your time and sitting down and recording your content, recording your video podcast, and to be able to distribute it on different platforms is what makes video podcasting so efficient. Not only does this save you time, but it only increases your visibility on other platforms, helping you to connect with your audience. There's so much equipment out there for video podcasting, and it all varies depending on your production needs and your workflow. So that's why this is important for you to do your research to make sure that the money that you're investing in equipment is well invested and that you're not wasting your time and your money. Then also think about the editing. Who's going to be editing your video podcast? If it's going to be you because of budget restrictions that you may have right now, so ask yourself, do I have the skills to edit a video? Do I know how to edit video on Premiere or the other different video editing solutions? Because you are going to need a video editing solution to edit your video podcast. If you don't have those skills, then you are going to have to set the time to learn those skills so you can do it yourself. You also have to think about the distribution and the distribution strategy that comes with making a video podcast, learning how the YouTube algorithm works, how to optimize your videos, how to optimize your channel. So all of the content that you post on YouTube does what it's supposed to do, which is help you grow your audience there on YouTube. Luckily for you, I have plenty of resources for you that you can find in the description. So make sure that you go to the description below. And I also created this list of videos. They're all about video podcasting. So go watch them right now and good luck.